Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys making some time out of your day to swing by the channel and watch the videos. Always very grateful for that. So much appreciated. Guys, today we're going to have a sort of a wide-ranging discussion on fluorocarbon line. I'm sort of going to give you a good little seminar on it, a little tutorial about when you don't want to use it, some of the characteristics about fluorocarbon that make it a little bit different than other type of line. And I think it's going to add up to a lot more efficiency, a lot more bites, and a lot less lost fish by the end of this seminar. So that's the topic of today's video. And also, guys, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, anyone out there interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, you can do that by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler. Just shoot me a private message, give you guys all the details for that. Okay, guys, fluorocarbon line, man. This is one of the greatest inventions ever in fishing out here. I've been using fluorocarbon ever since Seaguar came out with it. Man, it's been over 25 years ago. It was a huge breakthrough in the sport of fishing because the thing that fluorocarbon did is it reduced the line diameter size. It is a lot more invisible to the fish, so you could use heavier line and do a lot of the things that you could not do with monofilament line as far as techniques. Getting baits to get deeper, that type of stuff, getting more bites because you know how crystal clear and visible it is. So the fluorocarbon line, in my opinion, was one of the greatest inventions in fishing that really increased your efficiency as an angler as far as just casting goes. So I sort of want to give you guys my opinion on when you want to use it, when you don't want to use it, some little tips and advice on using it. So first of all, guys, the line I use is Seaguar Invisex. This is my favorite line. I do use the Seaguar Tatsu some. Also, guys, I'll put my Seaguar fishing line link in the description and my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys would like to try some of it. But it's been really a really good line for me, especially the Invisex, because it's a small diameter, it's pretty supple, super strong. So here's some things, some sort of some do's and don'ts with fluorocarbon line. First of all, one of the things about fluorocarbon that you got to understand is there's two primary characteristics with it. Number one, it sinks faster than monofilament line, and it has less stretch, and it's smaller diameter. And those three factors are a big determination on when you don't want to use it. First of all, if you're not familiar with it, guys, fluorocarbon line is a lot more, it sinks quicker than monofilament line, so you don't ever want to use fluorocarbon line with a top water that sets stationary in the water. So say if you're using like a chugger or something that sets still, or even a walking bait, fluorocarbon line will sink the nose of that bait and tend to make your bait run under the water a little bit. So for that type of a top water lure, you always want to use either braided line like the Seaguar, Seaguar Smackdown braid, or monofilament line for that. Never use it on top water. Now you can use it on top waters for stuff like buzz baits and stuff you reel across the surface, but that's the main thing. Second thing with that is with fluorocarbon line, you don't have to set the hook as hard as you do with monofilament line because it has less stretch. So one of the things we always used to have to do with monofilament line when you set the hook like on a jig or worm is you really had to set the hook hard because of the line stretch with mono, but you don't have to set the hook half as hard with fluorocarbon. So that's another thing about it is don't over set the hook too hard. That's a big consideration with that. And also another thing with it, guys, is you've heard me talk about it. I don't use braid to fluorocarbon. I use fluorocarbon line for everything on my spinning rod. So all my shaky head fishing, all my drop shot fishing, any fishing that I do with a spinning rod, it's straight fluorocarbon line. I think with straight fluorocarbon line, you have number one, you have only one knot, so you don't have to constantly tie two different knots, a leader knot and a main knot. You have invisibility on the whole length of the cast. I think one of the things with braid to fluorocarbon is even if you have like an 8 or 10 foot leader, you still got that braid in the water, and in clear water, that can definitely cause you, to lose a lot of fish. And thirdly, with using straight fluorocarbon there, it's a lot more friendly to fight the fish. If you're using braid to fluorocarbon, I think that the lack of stretch and braid will cause you to lose more fish. So I just think that it's a lot better for that. Another thing with fluorocarbon that you're going to have to get used to is understanding what pound test line to use on different type of lures since the diameter is smaller. Because in the past, say for example, if you were fishing a crankbait on 12-pound test monofilament line, 12-pound test mono is about equal to the same diameter as 20-pound test fluorocarbon. So you can get by with a lot heavier line with fluorocarbon line. So judge the depth that you want your lures to run based upon the pound test that you're using. That's why, fluorocarbon line is such a good choice for your jerk baits and your crank baits, stuff like that, because you can get deeper with the bait with using heavier line than you could with monofilament with that. So from that standpoint, that's a really important element on that. But the main thing, guys, is if you're not familiar with using fluorocarbon line, it's really worth the investment under certain techniques. Now, if you're fishing stuff like, that doesn't require a smaller diameter or, real clear line, you can get by with other techniques like braided line or monofilament sometimes. But I'm going to guess out of the course of a year's time, guys, I probably use the seaguar and Vizex probably 90 to 95% of the time in my fishing. The other 5 or 10%, I'm mixing it up with braid a little bit, occasionally, with mono, with the top waters I'm talking about. But fluorocarbon line is definitely going to get you more bites and gives your lures a little bit more versatility as far as depth goes. But anyway, guys, just wanted to do a quick video on fluorocarbon line. It's a little bit different. It's like anything else in fishing. There's applications for it in a certain situation. It works better than certain situations. So just try a few of those tips. I think it might help you all out. We'll talk later. See you.